May be forced to renegotiate loan repayment schedules for debts that were due this year and next year as the adverse effects of the coronavirus pandemic on the Kenyan and global economies bites. President Uhuru Kenyatta has welcomed a decision by the world's leading economies, that's the G20 bloc, to suspend debt repayments due up to the end of this year to enable poor countries deal with the COVID-19 burden. Here's Francis Gashuri with more details.
It is a tough balancing act for the National Treasury as it mops up all the available resources to deal with the coronavirus pandemic and the economic effects post-COVID-19, with the national debt burden hitting the over 6 trillion shillings mark against a 9 trillion shilling ceiling approved by Parliament. President Uhuru Kenyatta's administration juggling with shrinking revenue streams, installments that are due, and a multi-billion shillings budget to combat COVID-19.
Tupambane na hii jangwa, alafu pamoja tushirikiane, turudishe uchumi wetu na tuweze kusonga mbele kama taifa.
The world's leading economies, popularly known as the G20, have agreed to suspend debt payments owed by poor countries, with the agreement covering installments that were due up to the end of this year. The deal aimed at helping the countries deal with the adverse economic effects triggered by the coronavirus pandemic. In the last financial year, interest paid for local and foreign debts was 399.9 billion shillings, and a further 441.4 billion shillings is payable in the 2019-2020 financial year that ends in June. Next financial year's due interest is over 475 billion shillings and 483 billion shillings in the year after.
Na hii shida sio yetu, lakini ni shida ambaye tumeletewa kutoka nje, na ni shida ambaye inakumba karibu kila taifa duniani.
The National Treasury projects a loss of 173 billion shillings in revenue by the end of this year. The economic growth projection has been revised downwards, with the government acknowledging the tough economic times ahead. China's Exim and Development Banks account for 51 billion shillings in interest payable this year, with the World Bank's International Development Association IDA, France, Italy, African Development Bank ADB, Spain and European Investment Bank IAB among top on the list for major external debt redemption.
Other regional and global institutions have also stepped up. For example, the African Development Bank, the Africa Import-Export Bank, which have created emergency credit facilities for countries like ours. We will utilize these facilities to support producers and exporters so that they can return to full production and protect jobs and livelihoods.
Francis Gashuri, Citizen TV.